Welcome to Queer Next, the podcast that puts the yeehaw in y'all means all. I'm your host, Beck.
And I am your host, Dash. Welcome to today's episode. I took my glasses off and immediately I was like, why can't I see?
I know, I put mine on and I'm like, wow, everything's so sharp and clear.
The first, you know who Nick Swartzen is? He's a comedian.
Yes, yeah.
Have you seen, he has this special from the early 2000s. I don't know what it's called, but he's wearing like the gingham short sleeve shirt. He has several bits in it that I quote still, like I think about a lot. There's one bit about his grandmother and how he's like, he feels bad about asking her how she's doing every day. You know, he sees her, he's like, hey grandma, how you doing? She goes, well, I woke up today.
My dad always said, can't complain because nobody will listen.
Right. What good would it do? But he does this bit about quitting smoking weed. And he was like, the first like month, I thought I was psychic. Like I had been accustomed to looking for my keys when I went out the door. And so just out of habit, I would go, where are my keys? Oh, they're in my pocket. How did I know that? I have superpower. So like you put on your glasses and you're like, I have supervision. Oh no, I can just see like everybody else now.
Shanna is convinced that she has some kind of eye problem because she's unable to see. And I keep saying, you are 43 now, darling.
You are not supposed to comment on a lady's age like that.
Well, she's younger than me, so.
You can't just say it out loud like that.
Yeah.
Has she had an eye exam?
Yes, and she wears glasses. But, I mean, as you go through your 40s, you get bifocals. I was prescribed them the last time I went.
Well, yeah. These are progressives. So, like, they're the new bifocal. And I'm like, oh, okay, I've arrived. It was, and it's like the eye doctor, they will do this to you more than any other doctor I have encountered. They'll say that, well, you're not 19 anymore, shit.
Yeah.
Whenever it's time to, like, you don't have to tell me that. You can just simply say, it's time to update your prescription, just like a normal doctor would.
Well, they already have you sweating bullets. Which one is better, A or B? 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 I don't know. I get so stressed out during that
Those
test.
don't sound like words anymore. What is A? What is B? Am I here?
And I can't tell a difference.
Yeah. I'm always like, I'll be real quiet and I'll be like, can you do it again? But this last time she was like, yeah, you're blind up front and far away. Like you need both.
The last time I went, he said it was a neat trick. My distance vision was 20/20, but my up close vision, definitely need glasses for that. He said, that's a neat trick.
That's not so bad. I mean, you only have to wear them when you want to see in front of you.
Exactly. I find it does help with driving and stuff though, so.
Well, I mean, you don't have to like squint as much, you know? It's like it makes concentrating easier. I don't know. Driving's already stressful.
Amen. Are you guys dealing with the wildfires?
Well, yeah, to a manageable degree.
Toledo has the second worst air quality in the world right now. Second worst in the world.
I saw people posting online about it. I saw the pictures of the sky being like orange and yellow and looking like a fucking nuclear bomb has dropped.
It's wild out there.
Have you been outside? Can you like taste it?
I have my portable air because they're coming Monday to fix my air conditioning finally. But we have this portable air conditioner and it's just pumping air straight in here. You can like taste it in my apartment. You go outside and like it feels hot, like the house next door is on fire. Like you can just feel it, and the smoke is like choking, and it's like it looked like 7 o'clock in the morning at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday because of the fog and stuff like that.
Dude, no, we don't have it like that at all. I mean, we have like a moderate air quality warning, but I can't see it or taste it. I noticed like when I went for my run last night, I was struggling. Like it was not easy to breathe, but it wasn't even bad enough that I could put it together what it was until later I looked and saw that there was an air quality warning.
Yeah. You know the number they assign to it? Like 200 is India, I saw was like 167 or something like that. Our area is like at 800 right now.
What? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Ross Ellett is a meteorologist here in Toledo, and he's been posting a lot about it. That's one of the ways they rank different air qualities.
I have, in the iPhone app that for weather and stuff, they have the AQI in there, and ours is not bad at all. It's like it's down in the good, actually.
Ours is in the extremely bad. Like Amazon is not delivering right now.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Good.
Yeah, no, I agree, but like Amazon doesn't stop for anything.
It's like I wonder about the post office. They say no, whether rain or sleet or snow or apocalypse.
It took a while. We got DoorDash last night, and it took a while to get one assigned to my order.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah, I had an extra $2. I was like, "Come on now, go get my tacos."
I mean, if they're taking it, then they need the money. So just throw
Yeah,
them some extra bones and be like, all right,
yeah.
we are codependents in this capitalist hellscape. I went to the grocery store this morning in my pajamas, like a real Appalachian. I haven't done
Way to
that.
go! That's fantastic.
I realized I needed something and I had just a sliver of time.
I have, you know how Facebook shows you your memories every day or whatever? The other day, apparently, I have a lot of issues with ingrown toenails because the way my toenails grow, like
Yeah.
staples. And I put one time, I was like, the number of toenail ectomies you have is directly proportional to the number of times your cat will step directly on your toe in the immediate aftermath.
Yep.
So
And
it's
you
pretty
had some big ass
universal.
cats too.
Yeah. Yeah, I miss having a cat so much. My favorite professor from undergrad, we're friends on Facebook. She just adopted 3 kittens from the same litter. And I'm like, I'm so jealous. Not of the litter boxes, but I'm so jealous. I want 3 kittens.
Ever since I was thinking this yesterday while I was, cleaning the cat's box, like this setup I have now, I never thought I could have had it so good because, and I was having trouble because the robot, Ziggy, she would poop in it, but not pee in it. And she would pee in random places in the house. And so I knew that that was the problem, but I didn't want to go back to scooping. So I looked at like different kinds of boxes and they make these ones that are like stainless steel and they don't stink the way the plastic ones do because the plastic ones grow bacteria and it can't grow on stainless steel and it's super easy to scoop. It's just like psh, nothing ever. There's no like chiseling at it, when it gets clumped on
Yeah,
it. And she's so happy now. It's totally worth it, and it's really not that much worse. So I feel
yeah,
bad that I made her live like that for so long.
yeah. We were talking about how Ted was the perfect cat. He always used the bathroom if there were any kind of issues, like their water was low or his box need changed. He would helpfully and polite you guide you to the problem and meow
Aw.
his head off until you listened to him.
One time, for the longest time, it was just Oscar and Felix. For like 10 years, it was just them. And Felix is stupid, but he tries really hard and he's very sweet. He's honestly, he might be my favorite. He's definitely one of my favorites. But he has always had a terrible time figuring out how to communicate his needs or wants. And he's very quiet and anxious. And so I don't know. Sometimes he just seemed kind of sad sometimes. But whenever there was something like an emergency, like he could figure it out. And Oscar's the bad one. He's always trying to get away with shit. He loves annoying me when he's annoyed at me. Like if I've done something to annoy him, he'll find a way to pay me back. So I had a balcony on that apartment I lived in there in Bowling Green, and would open the door. Like say if I was cooking or something and it got really smoky, that's how I would air the apartment out. And it was wintertime. There was feet of snow, like there always is there. And I just opened it and left it open because I figured, whatever, the cats won't go out because there's feet of snow out there. Well, Oscar tunneled his way out there apparently, and I didn't know it, and just shut the door and left him out there. And I don't know how long he was out there. Like, it was a while. I noticed, I just kept doing what I was doing. I was cooking, and Felix was losing his shit. Like, he was screaming at me. He was like pawing on the counters, which he never does. He always tries to be a good boy, and he doesn't know what that means. So he just tries to do as little as possible. and he was just like out of his mind going everywhere. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I thought he was sick or hurt or something. And then I heard like and I look over at the patio door, and Oscar is like, and I was like, you fucking dumbass.
We call that move trancercising.
He was so cold.
Bless his heart.
No. I was like, did we learn anything? No. You're gonna do this shit again. You'd do it again right this second if you could.
That's funny.
Have you seen Jimothy?
Yes, I just saw him, the raccoon.
Isn't he amazing?
Yes, he's amazing. I follow another little dog called something the Loaf, and they have the same spinal issue. So they're just a little back and some legs and a head. It's the cutest little loaf you've ever seen.
It looks like, like the panorama glitches, like people who have tried to take panorama photos of their animals.
PETA, I want to hug you, but you're going to bite me.
You saw what I posted on Facebook about my Adderall caffeine combo.
Yes, yeah. That's funny.
I don't know what happened. This is my morning routine every day. Maybe I'm dehydrated or was dehydrated.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I realized like my heart's kind of beating, not fast, but hard. And I feel like I can see the future. And sometimes that's like can be mania or something. So I was like, what did I do? And then I thought about it. I had just like kind of slammed 2 cups of coffee maybe a half hour after taking my Adderall. And I was like, I think I have just like speedballed myself. Something. It could be mania, but I'm not actually that prone to mania. Anybody could have that. You don't have to be bipolar to have a manic episode, I don't think. But no, I think I'm just high. I just saw my therapist too.
I saw mine the other day, because I see 2 different people. I see the person that does my meds, and then I see the person that I actually talk to. And I saw my med lady the other day, and we decided that my meds are fine where they are. She said, you sound hopeful. You sound looking forward to the future. And I was like, I do, don't I? That's fantastic. Go me. It's been a long road. I've been with my therapist for 4 years, and I've been with the lady that does my meds for 6 years. And that is so rare that you get to stick with somebody for that long. And I don't know where I would be without my lady. Like her name's Kim, and she's wonderful. Mm-hmm. She's always on my ass for things. One thing she really goes hard on me about is not eating at Five Guys because she says it's too expensive.
Wait, she doesn't want you to eat at Five Guys, or
she wants me to start saving money.
Right.
More. And I mentioned we ate at Five Guys, and she was like, "Do you know how expensive that is?" And I was like, "Yes, I do."
Yeah, I was there. I know how expensive it is. Like, if I want to fucking blow my soft-earned money on garbage food, let me suffer the consequences. You don't have to tell me about them. I don't need you to narrate them to me.
The good thing about Five Guys is that they give you like a bag of fries. Have you ever eaten there before?
No, I haven't.
Their burgers are really good, and their fries are fresh cut potatoes. I got a bacon. I have nothing but meat and like the hamburger patty and the bacon, and it was delicious. I forgot to order cheese on it. But they give you if you order a fry, they give you the bag of fries, which is big, but then they take another scoop of fries and just throw them in there on top of them. Okay. So Shanda and I both get our own burger, and then we split a fry. There's plenty for both of us.
I had heard about a place that did that. I didn't know what it was called, and I've never seen it in real life. I think I saw it in a movie or maybe heard somebody talking about it.
Yeah, that's Five Guys. They have up on the wall, they'll even list the farm where they got their potatoes. It's so like fresh. Like, it's interesting. It's expensive. It was like $31 for 2 burgers and 1 fry. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But that's why it's a sometimes treat.
That's right. That's what I was about to say. We know for a fact that treats have positive, right? Like, of course they can become maladaptive and they can become less incentive and more coping. But like, we do need ways to have little positive reinforcements for ourselves, and those cost money.
They do.
Well, so we watched a movie. The Wheel of What Have You had us pick a movie to watch, and we chose Is this one of your favorite movies? I know it's one of the
It
ones you've seen
is.
the most often. Okay.
It is. And a little side note, I don't think I mentioned this before, but it was also one of my mom's favorites movies. And when she was in hospice, I had read that when people are in hospice, you should like play music and movies and things like that are comforting because all they can do is hear. So I played Major League at a high volume and let it play while she was in hospice laying there when she was unresponsive.
That is so redneck. I love that.
Yeah, but this is the first time I've watched it since then.
Oh,
So
okay.
I had a good little cry. It was all right,
All right.
but it made me happy. This movie makes me happy.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I guess I'm sorry, but also glad that you cried. And
The only way to get through grief is to go through it, man. You gotta feel it and let it wash over you and let it get going out of you, because if you hold it in, it'll bottle up and you're gonna break at some point. That's
yeah,
what I have learned. You gotta let it out.
I think that's how I wound up struggling really hard with PTSD. Like short, maybe 2 or 3 years after I moved up there to BGSU, because it was so soon after David was killed. And it wasn't just that he died, it was that it was the way that he died, right? It was being killed in war overseas, that the whole politicization, I don't know, all that stuff. Like, it's similar to, like your brother dying of an epidemic that then became part of a narrative that defined a place, and the place is always, like that. It wasn't simply someone passing away. It's bad enough that somebody dies young, but murder, he was murdered, I mean, in a way. So I didn't deal with it at all, and then it was just like coming out all ends after a couple of years of bottling it up. And talking
Yeah.
about therapists, man, one of them saved my fucking life there. It just happened to be somebody who was independently licensed, who did part-time hours for, I think, specific kinds of treatment at the student counseling center that I could see because she was independently licensed, because I was staff and I didn't know what to do. And so that day I realized I was in trouble. I was like, I'm just going to walk over there and see if they can help me. And so they did intake, and they're like, we'll see if we can find, like, we have contractors who come here. And so they fixed me up with this woman. Her name was Diane. If I was to have a kid, I would name it Diane. Like, she
That's my
was.
middle name.
Is it?
Yep.
Well, there's another reason.
I'm named after my aunt.
Yeah. And that was, God, I cried in that woman's office. And she was like, thank you for crying in here and trusting me. And I was like, does it look like I'm doing this willingly? Like, I have no control over how my body's working right now. Like, I would even try to mentally prepare myself and be like, okay, we're not going to ugly cry and hyperventilate today. Nope. The second she made eye contact with me, it was over. It was so bad. When I first started seeing her, we met 3 times a week.
Oh,
Yeah. She like
yeah.
really put time into me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I hope that I think she left actually and went private practice fully, and I hope she's retired and living a blissful like life wherever she wants to now.
Yeah. Shanna had one of those counselors, and where I go is where Shanna has gone since we've lived up here. And they take her insurance, but they want to have out of pocket. It's like $180 copay for the doctor she sees because he's out of network. And she's like, fuck that. And then she tried to see a counselor, and they charged her $80 for that. And she's like, I'm not paying $80 for every counseling session. So, and she needs to be in therapy. She has a lot of trauma she needs to unpack. But she found this one lady that she really bonded to, is in private practice, and that they take our insurance. So she called and asked if she would be able to see her. So,
Wow. Let's hope that works out. Yeah.
yeah, me too. I really hope it does. My lady's awesome though. She's trying to get me to finish my dissertation, to stop spending so much money, and to realize that grief is okay. That it'll be okay. She looks like Liz Cheney is who she looks like.
Okay.
But she's very liberal. You can tell she's very
Yeah,
liberal.
I imagine. Well, and so the movie, I don't think we said the name of it. It was Major League. So this is 89.
It got 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's a pretty well received film, and not just for me. But yeah, like it's definitely a movie of its time.
Sure. So I don't know anything about baseball in particular, like both the game and its culture. So I wrote down baseball dummy questions to ask you. I could have
Okay.
Googled them, but I just wanted to ask you.
Sure.
And I don't think I'll do them all at once because there's actually quite a long list, but there's some that could help us out before we get into it. So, are all of the teams in this movie that are mentioned real teams?
Yes.
Okay. Is
You know how they talk about moving the team to Miami? Miami has its own team now, so it would be out of sync for now. Miami, the Marlins, they're the team for down there. So
right.
and
Okay.
Tampa Bay, there's two in Florida.
So like there was some like verisimilitude to this idea that this could happen.
Yes.
Okay. So and was Cleveland actually that bad? Okay,
They
so
were
this-
pretty bad. Yeah, they were pretty. They're pretty well known for. It's like, do you know the Browns are known for being pretty bad? Like all of the Cavs are pretty good. Their basketball team is good, but their baseball and football teams have been notoriously bad for a long time. They went like 30 years without winning the division.
Okay, because I'd heard jokes about like the Cubs being really bad for a long time, that's just from watching movies where people made that joke. I didn't know anything
Yeah.
about it.
Well, they're in different leagues. There has to be a shitty team for each, and it was basically Cleveland for the American League and the Cubs for the National League.
Okay, both very Midwestern.
Yeah. But a lot of people love they both also had their come up. The Indians or the Guardians, who they are now, made it to the World Series a couple of years ago. So they made it all the way.
Yeah, the mascot was shocking. I knew it. You know, it's not that I didn't know that, but like I hadn't spent a lot of time looking at it. Wasn't super familiar with it, and my God,
His name is Chief Wahoo.
and the way he's drawn was so well. I mean, it was caricature, but it was also a little minstrel. You know, like
Yeah.
It wasn't only caricature of like indigenous people. There was elements of blackface in it too, especially because so at the very beginning when this thing opens, we have a really cool, I love when movies do this, the montage thing throughout history, and there's a snippet in a newspaper of a cartoon of the Chief Wahoo being beat over the head with a baseball bat by the mascot of whatever team they lost to, and it was from like the 50s, the 40s or something like that, 50s, and it was egregious. So like even like the movie version, like the contemporary of Chief Wahoo, was toned down from what happened.
Yeah. Before they were the Indians, they were the Cleveland Naps, which was short for Napoleons because their coach was short. Though if they were the Cleveland Naps now, I would change allegiance. I would be the biggest fan of Naps that there is. That you couldn't have a bigger fan. And before they were the Naps, they were the Spiders.
They have really downgraded a few times.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so baseball is there's turf wars in states between Cleveland, Cincinnati. That's not as common in the professional sports I watch. It's not. First of all, there aren't a lot of say NFL franchises that are in the same state as another massive franchise. But so the last question I had about like just how baseball works before we get going is, are there really 162 games in a season?
I think it's 163 now. I think they changed it. But yes.
God damn.
Yeah. It's a long season. It starts in April and ends in October.
But so like they must play multiple times a week.
Oh, yeah. So most series, they play 3 or 4 games per team. So say Cincinnati hosts the Cubs. You might play 3 games. And then in the next 3 days, the St. Louis Cardinals will come in. And then the Reds go to New York and play the Mets for 3 games there. You could go all over the country. Like they try to put them in like, so when you go to like California, you're going to play the Athletics and you're going to play the Giants and you're going to play the Dodgers. You're going to play all of those coasts so that you're not crisscrossing the country. So they kind of have it laid out that way. But on the other side of the country, you can go from Chicago to Florida to New York to Arizona to, you know what I mean? Like wherever your games are. There are some days off. It's usually 7 days off or 7 days between an off day. Sometimes it's a little less, sometimes it's a little more based on how the stuff is going. You brought up that the rivalries. One thing I want to say that the general rule is that every fan can dislike 3 teams. One, their division rival. So the Cincinnati Reds, our division rival is the St. Louis Cardinals. Or the Pirates or the Cubs, could be any of them. But for my dollar, it's the Cardinals. I also don't like the Pirates. So you're allowed to dislike one of those, right? Then you also dislike a team that beat you in the last division, whatever, right? And then everybody hates the Yankees except Yankees fans. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, and that will help us answer a question I have for later once we get to that part of the story. Okay. Thank you, Doctor Baseball. Um,
yes.
and hopefully that helped some of our non-baseball listeners as well. So I'd never seen this movie, which was one of the reasons why I wanted to watch it. I love, I want to see every movie in the world, even the really shitty ones. But I especially want to see the ones that are meaningful to the people I care about. And this is so outside of, my family. We didn't, even when we rented movies, we didn't really do sports movies. The sports movie, like, that's a genre. That's its own genre.
Yeah, sure.
And sports movies about various sports, like, they differ. They have their own conventions and things. Baseball is always very superstitious. It is like in the baseball cinematic universe, it's not just superstitious, it's spiritual. There are ghosts. God plays baseball sometimes, like football ain't about that. Football movies are not doing that.
Did you catch the line where he says, "Are you saying that Jesus Christ can't hit a
curveball?
Can't hit a curveball?"
Yes, I wrote that down. Like, I wasn't expecting that to be in there. This whole religion war.
It's got a little something for everybody.
Well, yeah, there were these through lines of social commentary in it. And it made me think about your research, actually, the fact that baseball is such an American institution that it is kind of America.
Yeah, it's a mirror.
Yeah. So it opens up and we get a little bit about Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at first I thought, like, okay, what are we, the establishing shots of the opening montage are of Cleveland's skyline, of kind of industry, of, like the whatever factories and stuff are there, of construction going on, of things being built, but also dereliction, like abandoned structures and rusty structures. And we go down into a neighborhood. We sort of come from above, literally above, and look on the way down at all these different pieces. And we wind up in a neighborhood with some kids playing stickball.
Did you notice the nun with the Indian jacket on?
You did. I loved that. That was actually, I was like, okay, so God is an Indians fan. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. So I thought that was a pretty cool, to me, that kind of goes along with your thesis that baseball is a religion.
Mm-hmm. The thing that there was an article that really kind of tuned me into where I wanted to go with my research, and it was called a shortened version of the title was Coca-Cola and the Church of Baseball, talking about American culture, and the Church of Baseball is a very common phrase. So yeah, for sure. Because think about it, everybody comes together. It's like a Sunday afternoon game, right? There's music, there's camaraderie, there's a belief in a team. There are the rules that everybody has to follow. There are the traditions. There's particular kind of clothing that you wear. There's officials, like and a lot of people think that baseball is a masculine sport, and it is for sure, right? But what you have to remember is that women have been part of baseball since the game was literally invented. And we like to push women out, but they have been fans and players for as long as they can be remembered. There was a girl who struck out both Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth on the same day. They're notoriously famous baseball players. And she struck them out back to back on the same day. She was like a 15-year-old girl. My point. What is my point? What were we just talking about?
That baseball hates women, but women love baseball.
Oh, what I was going to say is that people think of baseball and they think men, right? But before TV, We had radio and games. We didn't have night games because there were no lights, right, before the 30s and things like that. So, and there was no television. So women would listen to the radio, and during the day, they had two choices basically: soap operas or baseball. And just as many women that were listening to the soap operas were listening to the baseball games. And there are generations of female fans out there that grew up listening to them. It was passed down by their mother or their grandmother or their great aunt or their sister. There's lots of people who got baseball from a woman in their family, and we like to overlook that.
And one of the things I was talking to Therapy Bro about this morning was like, even patriarchy wishes we thought of femininity and masculinity as very discrete, but we don't. There's a huge
Yeah.
amount of overlap. Something, I was thinking about is like, because this movie is very misogynist.
Yes.
Like the racism is there, and everybody knows about the racism, or at least is aware. Like most of us are not going to be shocked to or even argue necessarily with the statement, this mascot is fucked up, but the misogyny plays out over and over and over again with, I counted 3 different women at least. There was one woman I can remember thinking like, oh, that's a good character. That's an empowered person. We didn't get to see her face. We saw her outline and her side boob. She was the woman who came up to Wild Thing in the bar and was like, I think you're hot and you look sad. Do you want to? I liked her. But so, yeah, after this setting the stage of Cleveland, then we get the snippets of how terrible the Indians are. And we're introduced to our villain. Kind of. She's a villain. There's a couple of villains in the story, but this woman, and I didn't catch her name. What was her name?
You asked me too fast.
Sorry. Let me pull up the Wikipedia. I forgot to pull up my cheat sheet.
Why can't I think of her name? That is not in my files today. Peter, I'm just such a Jessica
Phelps. Rachel Phelps. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're introduced to her through a headline, right? The montage ends on a newspaper headline, says something like retired Vegas showgirl takes ownership of the Indians or something. So I was like, okay, now that's a way to introduce somebody.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all we get to know about her.
Oh no, she has a little dog, and she has a little dog too.
And she wears furs. And so like right after that headline dissolves from the screen, we see her walking into this boardroom, and it is kind of a cool scene, like she's very like glamorous, and she's wearing this like power suit with a minx something or other around her neck, and she walks into this room and just like stands above these dudes in suits at a table, and it's like, okay, that's kind of cool, but the movie doesn't want us to think that's cool. The movie wants us to hate her,
Yeah.
And is that when she tells us her plot? No, it's later.
Yeah, later.
This is when she's introducing the roster, the people she wants to bring to spring training.
Right. Did you catch the Toledo Mud Hens shout out in there?
I did.
I had never caught that before.
Well, and that's why I asked you if they're all real teams. Because that's a cool name for a like, I would totally be a Mud Hens supporter.
Oh yeah, there's this. They have the stadium downtown, and Mud Hens it's a big Toledo thing.
Yeah, that was cool because they're like, this coach. Yeah, he's at the Mud Hens. Lou Brown, I think was his name.
Yeah,
he was a character. His voice was so gravelly. He's the actor who...
If you get a wild hair, watch Major League 2. It's just as good as the first one. And he's in that movie, too. So.
Yeah, I think I will watch Major League 2.
The third one isn't terrible, and you get Scott Bakula.
Interesting.
You hate Scott...
Oh, no, I don't hate... I don't know why I made that face. I think it's because I didn't expect you to say that.
Yeah. I wouldn't be like, yeah, you definitely need to see number 3, but you need to see number 2. And then if you get curious, you can watch number 3. But 2 is good, too.
Well, then I don't like Charlie Sheen, like from the kind of the moment is, I don't like Charlie Sheen. I don't like Tom Berenger. And immediately, like, those are our 2 main guys. And I was just like, oh, I don't know if I can root for these 2. But, they did eventually enter the characters. It stopped being Charlie Sheen at kind of the height of his celebrity, on screen eventually, and it became Rick Vaughn. And I'm surprised that he was able to do that. I've never thought he was a very good actor. He wasn't trying to be. He's an A-lister. They don't act. An A-lister's
Right.
job is to show up and be a celebrity on screen.
And his pitching looked good because he was literally throwing heat. He was really doing it.
I was gonna ask you that because I could at least tell, like, he actually knows how to do that. Like, maybe he's not hitting the target every time, but his form is right. He's
Yeah.
he's really throwing that thing. The other guy, the older, which this worked, but the guy who played, he was not doing the greatest job of.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't have body doubles. I mean, they only used stunt doubles for things that the actors could be hurt doing. They didn't have, some pro come in there and throw the ball and then cut it into the actor's face. So that was pretty cool. There were some other real baseball things in here, like the announcer.
Bob Uecker.
Yeah, Bob Uecker. He's a real
Yeah.
announcer dude.
Yeah. He was an announcer for Pittsburgh, I think, for a long time. And then he was on the TV show Mr. Belvedere. He played the dad on Mr. Belvedere. And then he became, that's when after he was a voice actor, or after he was the announcer for the baseball team, he became an actor. And then he acted in this movie, and he stayed a color commentator, I guess you would call it. Yeah, he's hilarious. So my favorite lines are from "Just a bit outside."
Yeah, like him coping so hard for this team is dreadful. And it's such a cool thing too, like just from a media perspective. He's trying to relay what he's seeing to people who aren't seeing it, right? He's the radio guy. And so he's trying to he's softened the blow. Kind of like, okay, it's not really that bad, and that's so interesting because that's just a labor of love, you're like, oh
Right.
God, I'm so glad you guys aren't here to see this, that's the kind of core of the film is nobody's coming to the games,
Right.
and they don't. Did you feel like they weren't coming to the games because of the losing, or because were there other things?
Well, baseball as a whole now, I believe viewership is down for a couple of reasons. Number one, they make it very hard to watch Major League Baseball. It used to be it was streamed on ABC or NBC or be on ESPN or whatever, your local games. Now you have to subscribe to something and pay $150 a year to
Pass
do
or
it.
something.
Yeah, so it's expensive to watch. Number two, the games in the 70s took like 2 hours, and by the last couple of years, they were taking upwards of 3.5 hours because they would waste so much time. They initiated a bat clock, and that really sped things up. So it's back down to about 2.5 hours per game. So that's good. But people get bored. They don't want to sit out in the sun for 4 hours at a time. There's less involvement in like Little League and things like that. A lot of black kids in particular, are not introduced to childhood sports like that. They don't have the room for the fields or the money or the interest, not from the kids, the corporate interest to put those kinds of things in. Though the Reds have a really good program. They work with the all around Cincinnati. I have a friend that Shannon went to art school with who works with them. He does murals all over the place for the Cincinnati Reds, and it's a kids program. He goes into the schools and does murals and things like that. So they have a lot of, they rebuild parks all the time. They redo fields for kids all the time. They do scholarships. There's all kinds of good stuff that they do.
Baseball became the institution it did because it was in neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And we were shown stickball at the beginning of the movie. It grew out of a game kids played in streets or whatever. Kids don't play in the street anymore.
Right. It was based on a game called Rounders, which was a girls' game in Britain originally.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons it has the masculinity problem that it has. One of the major founders of the game of baseball in American culture is Albert Spalding, and he wanted baseball to be manly. He said baseball is war, and that's the reason he chose Abner Doubleday to be the one that they penned the writing of the rules on. He wasn't even near Cooperstown when those rules were written down. He didn't have anything to do with it, but because he was a colonel or something, they wanted to have a military man behind it, right? So the game was then spread through the Civil War, particularly because from troops. They as they went from town to town, they would play ball when they were bored, and that's how a lot of baseball got spread was through the war and the troops.
Wow.
And then it became a phenomenon everywhere. Like the box score in the newspaper became an instant thing. So
Hmm. So like well, I don't know. It's hard to really even say like whether the treatment of women in the film was from the 80s or from baseball culture. So maybe it's not even worth trying to figure out.
yeah, I mean, go into any comment section where women are mentioned with baseball,
Hmm.
be it the Jen Powell, the first major league umpire that was a woman, or this new professional women's league, or whatever you want to say about a woman. Read the comment section and you will
Yeah.
need a shower afterwards because it is bad. It is really bad.
Like reading about a trans athlete.
But, yeah, exactly. The next thing is Jake. They find him in Mexico. That was a little crazy.
I wrote down Tom Berenger at home.
And then Willie Mays Hayes comes up. Did you notice the Rolls Royce chassis on the VW Bug body was what he was driving?
I could tell something was off, but I didn't put together that's what it was.
Yeah, it was a VW Bug chassis, like the bottom and the lights and all that. And then on top of it, he had put the hood of a Rolls Royce.
That's amazing. I loved his character, Willie Mays Hayes, played by Wesley Snipes, who it's not that he's unrecognizable because he's clearly Wesley Snipes, but he looked the way he was playing that character, the way he was embodying that character, he looked smaller than he actually is. He's not a small dude. I mean, and he wasn't like less muscular than he normally is in this, but the character kind of took over and kind of packed down into this guy who was just trying to make something happen. You know, he was
Right.
he wasn't super confident necessarily, but he knew that he had something to offer, and I loved seeing him play a character like this, and he was
Yeah.
funny too. He had some great
Yeah.
lines.
I liked when he won the foot race when they took him out. Why would they take him out in the middle of the night like that? I still don't know. That's one of the biggest plot holes in the whole movie. Why they just carried him bed and all out into the field. But the
Uh,
foot race he gets in barefoot and he still kicks their ass
Started
was
from
pretty good.
outside the stadium. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's so like they come in, they realize that he has snuck his way in, and they send what looks like military police. I don't know who these dudes were who came and picked his. They dismantled the what's it called,
The
beds that
bunk
are
bed.
on bunk beds.
Bunk.
Just carried him outside, like you said, but they were wearing these uniforms and helmets. Like I don't know what they were prepared for, but yeah. And so not only did they just carry him out in the middle of the night, but they just dropped him, hid the bed out in the parking lot, I think, right outside the fence to the thing. And he woke up, he was like, damn, I've been cut already. But he realizes that they're doing, their time trials for, foot races or whatever, 440s. And he jumps up, and then we cut to the two guys who are already down, in the middle of their race, and he just comes right out between them.
And Usain bolts him.
Yeah. So Lou Brown is like, all right, get him a uniform, I guess.
Yeah. I like Lou a lot. He's one of my favorite characters. And around that same time, they show Vaughn throwing, and he hits 96, and that was impressive back in 1989. Now
Yeah.
pitchers are hitting that on the regular. There's a guy named Aroldis Chapman who throws over 100. That's his regular speed.
I remember there was this other movie I saw where was it Rookie of the Year? It's a dumbass movie where this kid can throw really fast.
Yeah, from arm surgery.
Yeah, the whole plot of him throwing 100 miles an hour. That's where most of my knowledge about that comes from. But yeah, he can throw really, really, really fast. They assume that they can train him to have better aim, and so they let him on the team. And then we learn each of the players has their quirk, So like there's the pretty boy who doesn't want to field a grounder because he might mess his face up.
Lou Pease on his contract, which I liked.
He was like, you can't make me do that. My contract says this. What do you think of that? Here's what I think.
Zip.
There's the Cuban guy, Serrano,
Pedro.
who has come for religious freedom, which was so fascinating. And the way they introduce his character is, it's a slow motion, silent shot of him walking in this incredible outfit. He's a tall dude. This actor, I think it's Dennis Haysbert. Yeah. was very, very tall dude, and he was, I wouldn't say like jacked. He wasn't like super muscular. Well, no, he looked very, very strong, but it was more like the way he was just kind of moving and his presence. He was a really striking character. And so they're kind of describing all of these guys as they come through, and they're like, yeah, he came here for the religious freedom.
You realize that's the State Farm guy, right?
Yeah. I looked him up because I was like, who is this guy? Yeah, he's been in a lot of things. He played like God on Lucifer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the super fun. His character is interesting though, because this is where this religious tension comes through, and I think that he even doesn't he convert to Christianity, or so, he at least repents.
He does the sign of the cross when they're on the airplane.
But he also like he like rebukes his god of voodoo, which is what he practices, and I don't think that's the name of the religion, but you know, for this, the movie calls it that.
I wrote down what he said. I wrote down so many lines from this movie, it's ridiculous.
But yeah, so he wants to practice his religion freely, which is interesting because it's like baseball being very patriotic and, you know, America, yada yada. That is something Americans like to pride themselves on, but it's also something Christian nationalists hate about America, that people have the freedom to practice whatever religion they want. So this was a very interesting thing to introduce. And I don't know the other pitcher's name, the older one, who's like he's always wanted to pray. Ed Harris, his name was Harris.
Okay.
But he's like, he wants them to have prayers and things like that, and he's very, I think, creeped out, and he tells Serrano that he should convert, or he should accept Jesus as his savior or whatever. And the rest of while he's doing like a little service or whatever, and most of the guys are like, oh my God, leave him alone. I thought like, what are they going to do with this? Where's this going? Why is this here?
I think everybody needed a quirk, and I think, you know, that was one they hadn't used yet. But like you said, it's very interesting that they do that, especially with the religious freedom issues of the late 80s. It was something like the Muslim influx was really starting, and, you know, there was a tension there. So maybe they're just commenting, because baseball is a mirror of American culture, and I'm sure there are plenty of guys with different religions in the game, because it's an international game now, right?
Right.
Almost every team has a Japanese player at this point.
Yeah, right. That was in there too. Like those two guys who were the groundskeepers.
They're shitty.
They're shitty. They're not so shitty anymore. Like they're knowledgeable. Their commentary on it. They care. They work there, but they were also kind of othered. And they weren't. Yeah. You never saw them as part of like a group. I don't know. I thought that was significant as well. Like they didn't like go whole hog on a lot of these commentaries. They just kind of introduced them. They left them there if you wanted to pick it up and think about it.
That's when it says, you think Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball.
I think after spring training, or they find out who's on the team and who's not, who makes it and who doesn't. And they go to Cleveland, and Jake and Willie and Rick go out to a fancy French restaurant. And that's where we're introduced to Lynn's character, played by Rene Russo.
Yeah, it's the worst part of the movie.
What do you mean? Why do you say that?
I just think that the romantic interlude was unnecessary and put there just for women or something. That was the idea.
And not for, that was my question too. Like I had the same thought. Who's this for?
Yeah.
Are women really watching this woman get fucking harassed until she gives in, breaks up with her fiance, and goes out with this love bomber again? I don't think women are. I think it's there for men.
Yeah.
I think men wanted to see this washed up loser still pull a beautiful woman.
Right.
Even after he had fucked up so bad. Like, we don't know what we do know some of the things he did. He talks about, like, they both talk about the fact that he cheated on her constantly and yada yada, and treated her like shit. I think he had substance use problems. He was a drinker, partier, or whatever. The movie gives us no reason to think that he's changed, or that he should, even if he did change, you know, hoorah, good for him. That doesn't mean you are owed a woman. It
Right.
doesn't mean you are entitled to just go to a fucking restaurant and harass your ex until she takes you back.
Right.
Every minute he spent talking to her, I was screaming at the TV.
And then he follows her home.
Everything he did is, I wanted her to call the cops.
Right. Moby Dick of all books.
Her character was so interesting. I wrote down some of the things about her too, because he follows her. First, how did he find out where she worked? Okay, wait, let's finish what we were talking about, right? So he sees her with a dude, presumably on a date at this fancy restaurant, and calls the hostess telephone and asks for them to go get her. And so they go get her and they're like, hey, you have a phone call up here. And she's like, well, that's weird. And it's him. And so he's like, Kiki, I'm cute. I'm adorable. I'm back in town. And he comes down and talks to her and just immediately invalidates every boundary she tries to set,
Right.
And he's like, you got to give me your number. Give me your number. And she gives him a number that turns out to be fake. I don't remember who it was she had him call.
I don't think they say.
I think it was something in my mind. It was like an auto mechanic shop or something like that. Or a factory. I don't know. Because he was like, do you have somebody named Lynn working there? So she gave him a fake number and he just decides to still stalk her and track her down and be like, you gave me a fake number, you scallywag. And she was like, well, let's talk in my office. I don't want to do this here. And he's like, I don't want to talk in your office, and follows her around her job, berating her for not taking him back.
Just because he came back in town. That's the only reason.
I'm back. Give me your body parts now. It was just so, I was like, surely to God, maybe this will end in a way that will redeem this somehow.
Yeah, no.
It's not a spoiler to say that it does not. So anyway, we got to move past that. We got to accept that for what it is, right? It's a misogynist movie from a misogynist sport context in a misogynist time period in America.
Yes.
And just laugh at it from now on.
I like that Serrano gets more elaborate as he goes. Like, he starts out with just the fireball or whatever, and then he adds the rum, and then he adds the smoke, and then he adds the live
snake.
chicken. He wants the snake. Yeah, the snake's funny.
He like literally like sets off the sprinkler system with a fire.
Yeah.
And that, I think also, that wasn't just about religion. It was also about superstition. Like, baseball is superstitious.
Oh, yeah.
Above all, I don't want all other sports, but like to take it back to other maybe comparable sports like NFL. Baseball, these dudes are wackos.
Well, you're playing 163 games a year. You know what I mean? And where football players play 13 games, I think.
Right.
So there's a lot more ritual. There's a lot more repetitiveness. So you realize that you won last night, so I'm not going to wash my socks. And then we win again, so I'm not going to wash my socks. So we won again, I'm not going to wash my socks. And then you have a really stinky team if you keep winning, I'm not going to cut my hair. Or some people freeze in place. If somebody gets a home run and they were bending over to pick something up, they have to just stand there and wait till it's over. Like, people have all kinds of quirks when it comes to, like, superstitions when it comes to baseball, for sure.
They didn't talk about that much. I think they showed it. There was the scene where there was a home run or something good happened, and they showed a whole bullpen do this like choreographed stomp, clap, hey thing, cross their legs a certain way. And at first I was like, what in the hell? And then I remembered the superstition of baseball. So this like religious war that's going on between Harris and Serrano, it's really not that different than somebody not washing their socks, because both of them are employing their religion in the service of winning baseball games. It's nothing to do about going to heaven.
There was a line when they were sitting at the restaurant where Charlie Sheen goes, I look like a banker.
Right, because they made him put on a tie, but he was wearing well, first of all, he has that, I don't know, I was about to say for the 80s it was a crazy haircut. It's not, but strange for baseball, I guess. He has kind of a shaved, interesting pattern. So he's got that, and then he's wearing like his cut off sleeves leather jacket, I think, with a flannel shirt underneath, also sleeveless.
Yeah.
And then, but they made him put a tie on. He says, "I look like a banker." And I was like, I laughed out loud at that.
Yeah.
Never has anyone looked less like a banker. Wesley Snipes, on the other hand, looked better. He was outdressing all of them. He looked like no matter what they did, actually, he was like doing it better than everyone.
Which is funny because I was reading some of the stories about it on, I think it was on IMDb where I read it, that he was such a lousy athlete that they only had like 20 minutes of film of him playing, and they like had to feed it to him, which is why there's not a lot of him actually playing the game because he
And
couldn't.
his superpower is just running
Yeah.
and hitting the ball, hitting fly balls or foul balls.
There was a kid named Billy Hamilton, and that's pretty much all he could do. He could run like the wind, but he could hardly get on base because he couldn't hit very well.
Yeah.
He was a Red for a long time. And then we have this guy named Ellie De La Cruz, who is a phenom in baseball right now. He stole home last season. Like, I think he walked to first, then he stole second, stole third, then stole home. Like, he's that kind of dynamic player. But he can run like crazy too.
There was his first time at bat, which was also the first at bat of their season. Willie Mays Hayes, he decides to bunt and then run his base.
Yeah.
And there was like the first baseman was like mocking him or shaming him for bunting.
That was the boys club thing. It's the masculinity thing all over again.
Is that a real thing? Is bunting looked down on?
It used to be. It definitely was in like the 80s and the 90s. I don't think it is now because the game has become more about small ball now. It used to be the home runs because of the steroids, right? And everybody thought you should be jacked up and hitting homers or whatever. So your dinky little bunt, you must be gay or whatever. Yeah, that was definitely a thing.
Or heteronormativity, but I was like, it's objectively brilliant, right? Like it worked, it's strategic, and then they bring that back later when they're in their big final game, and Jake knows that he can't run because his knees are fucked up, and he knows that Willie is on second or third and is fast enough to.
Well, he's on first, and he swings
steals.
and steals second base, yeah. And so once you're in second base, you're in scoring position, as they call it, because one good hit to the outfield, and you can score.
Right. Is that what they call? Is that what swinging away means?
Swing away means you're free. You don't. So sometimes they'll tell you not to swing because the pitcher keeps throwing balls or whatever reason they have. And then sometimes they'll say swing away, and that means if you see a good pitch, hit it.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, the evil plan of making them lose is only partially successful. Like, yeah, they're not great. They're still losing plenty of their games, but in the first half of the season, or the first quarter of the season, yeah, they've won half their games. So they're 15 for 15. And so Rachel is not happy with that. That's not good enough. She wants attendance much lower. She wants everybody to hate the team. So she starts punishing them in other ways. She takes away stuff they need. I don't know if you would argue that they need. She's like, they're pampered. So she starts taking away like the hot water in the showers, or takes away their chartered plane and gives them a hoopty, and then eventually takes that away too. She takes the towels away.
Blue was a total man about it too. I loved it.
He was like, we're out of towels and I'm too old to dive into a stall.
Yeah.
And so she's, I think, first of all, this is very bad leadership. Like, she should know. She was just making them more into a team, right? She was giving them something to battle against. But that's neither here nor there. I laughed when Lynn said, "My life is books now," or whatever. Yeah. Books in my life now. And her license plate says read. Okay.
Did you notice the fans? They kept showing these one particular set of fans with the drums and the headdresses on.
I was going to ask you about them.
Yeah, they did not age well.
No, absolutely not. But I also didn't understand what they were. Like, I thought at first, I was like, is this the pep band? Like, are these people with the team, or are they fans? Knowing that they're fans that's actually really interesting. That kind of sums up what it was like, what it's like to be a fan of a team that sucks,
Yeah.
Like, you have to make a decision whether you give up on them, you take a break or whatever, or you keep showing up and just get your heart broke over and over again. But yeah, oh god, they're in the war paint. They wearing the feather headdresses. They're called featherheads, is what they were calling these fans. But they eventually, because the team gets a little better, well, they find out what's going on with Wild Thing.
Yeah, with the glasses.
Yeah, Lou calls him in to the office to talk to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, you'll get there. Look at this person on the board. He's gesturing to like a plaque or something." Charlie Sheen like squints really, really
Yeah.
hard. It made me laugh so hard. And we had seen him do it a couple times before. Like there had been a couple moments where he had his character, and you thought like maybe that's just a face his character makes.
Right.
Lou was like, he writes some letters on a pad and goes across the room. And he said, "Read this." Like you can't see shit. It made me think of that. Do you remember the Olympics? There was that little male gymnast, and he was doing the pommel horse, and for whatever reason, they wouldn't let him wear his glasses while he did it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about. That was fucking weird. Like, if a person can play basketball in glasses, you can do a pommel horse in glasses. So it must have been
Yeah.
a rule. But him not knowing that he couldn't see, that was so relatable. That has happened to me so
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
Like, you just assume nobody else can see either, and everybody else is just full of shit.
Right.
Like, you're lying. You can't read that.
I noticed, but with my old age, I keep holding things further and further away from me
Yeah.
to be able to see them. I got a bigger TV and it didn't help.
Well, and we know, like, Rick Vaughn, he doesn't drive. He was like on the back of a motorcycle when he showed up. Like there are little clues about him not being a fully sighted person throughout this, but the idea that he just didn't put it together and was still trying his hardest to play baseball,
The California Penal League.
and nobody had ever thought to check, which is kind of that happens to a lot of. That's the definition of falling through the cracks.
Yeah.
So they put these like real, like some tortoise shell glasses on him, and they are not giving what he wants them to give, even though I don't think anything does. Like those glasses he puts on later that are supposed to be like more him, he looks gayer.
You mean the skull and crossbones?
Yeah. I was like, those are real gay, bro. Not only that, but he starts wearing a turtleneck under his outfit.
Yeah.
The thing when he comes out at the end, when he gets like tagged in, I was like, it's supposed to be, well, it is a very cool scene, right? Because everybody's really excited to see him. And this character reads like somebody who's never been loved before. So here he is like coming out into a stadium when everybody is so happy to see him and cheering for him and singing the song. But he looks like a dork. He doesn't look like a cool guy that showed up on the back of a motorcycle anymore. He looks like a dude that's ready to do what it takes to play baseball. And I just love that subtle transformation and the way that there's several other instances of us seeing the characters' priorities realign to being a member of a team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see, that is a running theme through it. Like the Dorn character, how he doesn't want to, and then he finally bucks up after. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. So, all right, where are we now? What happened next?
We talked about the fans and the full feathers. Then he says, "You can't say goddamn on air. Don't worry, no one's listening."
Yeah.
And then Pedro gets mad and says, "Up your butt, Jobu." Or no, the Harris guy says, "Up your butt, Jobu." And instant karma, he gets hit with the bat. I really liked that
Well, he
part.
took the shot of rum. So
Yeah.
Serrano had said, like, do not fuck with Jobu's rum. And we know why, right? It's he had already told us, like, this is part of the thing, the ceremony. This is how I get down. This is my belief. And I don't even really know why. He was just walking by and felt like being an asshole. Harris takes the shot of rum and drinks it and says, "Fuck you, Jobu." And then he walks out and immediately gets nailed by
a flying bat. Instant karma.
And there's no follow-up to it either. It's just like we cut to him like sitting on the bench holding an ice pack to his head. It's not like that was it, right? It was just instant karma. So in a way, it's like not really that the religion is real, but it's more like, was that worth it? Do you feel better or worse now?
The next thing that happens is every time we win, we peel a section. They get the cardboard cutout of Rachel.
So there's a dude that Rachel has been making help her sabotage the team, and he doesn't want to do it.
He's the operations manager. That's what his name is.
Okay. So she puts him in charge of basically punishing this team. And he finally, and they're like, we can tell that he's miserable. There's a scene where he's just sitting drinking Mylanta Malox or something, like straight from the bottle, and he like keeps she keeps catching him cheer when something good happens for the team, and she, gives him stank eye. Finally, he decides to come clean. He goes down and talks to Lou and says like, she's sabotaging you, like this is what she's doing and why. He spilled the whole beans. And so Lou goes in, and this is in the locker room. He tells the team the truth. He's like, y'all need to know that this is, what's been going on. He doesn't really he doesn't put a choice to them. He doesn't really give them an ultimatum. He just sort of gives them the information. And then is it Jake that stands up and says, well, the only thing to do is to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then the others, Willie, I think, is next. And, they're all kind of like, why not? Yeah. I mean, what do we have to lose? Because the thing Lou tells them is, this is it. Her goal is to destroy this team. You will not have jobs next year. And this was like a last chance for a lot of these guys, or a first start for the others, right? They're a mixture of guys who are at the end on their last chance, or guys who are just scraping to get their break, to break into it. So some vulnerable people. And they start to work on their skills more. And then Lou brings in this. I think this isn't the nail in the misogynist coffin. This is the coffin. This like full cutout of Rachel. And Lou says he has some math. He's like, we need to win
32 games.
So for everyone we win, we're going to peel off a piece of her dress. And I was like, I didn't see that coming at all. Like, I thought they were gonna write things on it, because it had a little dialogue blurb that said, you guys stink. So I thought, okay, they're gonna destroy this thing. They're gonna throw baseballs at it. They're gonna, I don't know, shaving cream on it. No, they're gonna strip her naked.
Yeah.
So I was like, where did they get this? And then I remembered.
That was my question. Where do you get that photo? But she was a stripper. Yeah.
She was a stripper. Yeah. So, but you can't, just because somebody was a showgirl, which is what she was, that doesn't mean you can just have naked pictures of them.
Right.
So they still got that from somewhere, like it's not like she was on the billboard like that. Even though when they finally do peel her all the way down, there's some pasties there. And I don't know if those later came off too. Yeah. So it still took something for them to get that and then turn it into a cardboard cutout. Who the fuck made that?
Right. And then made the pieces all fit together.
Right. Like I think a gay was involved. I think who else would know how to do that and be willing to do it? Because I know Coach Lou Brown didn't do that shit. The sparkly garment coming apart in just the right cutout suggestive ways around her body, the way it was off the shoulder first and then it was the cutout on her side. That is some drag queen shit. There was a drag queen involved in this. And I actually thought it was kind of cool, except for the way that they were doing it and why they were doing it and who was doing it. Like it was a really cool artifact, other than what it was being used for and by who. Yeah. Anyway,
the next thing that happens is the American Express commercial right there in the middle of the movie.
Man, that was wild. So was that a reference to I mean, I know that their sponsorships exist, but was there really a commercial kind of like this? It was so oddly specific.
So that was a genre that they did. It was "Don't Leave Home Without It." Amex "Don't Leave Home Without It" was the tagline, and they had athletes do some commercials like that. That was a pretty well known format. So it was definitely within the milieu for sure. It was definitely part of.
It was so strange. So like they were there in tuxedos, which already kind of didn't make sense. I mean, what really struck me about it was that it was a poorly put together concept. And so Lou's talking, he's like, you probably don't recognize us, which is like fair. And I think the joke was that they had been so terrible,
Yeah.
Like, you don't know who we are because we suck, or we have traditionally sucked. Some of the guys have lines. I don't remember what they were talking about. I don't remember what the dialogue was, except for "don't steal home without it."
Yeah. And that was when Wesley Snipes comes sliding into home
Slides in,
base.
yeah, in a
Yeah.
tuxedo.
Yep. Yeah. Charlie Sheen says something. He goes to something something type places.
Didn't he say fuck? He
He
said a
might have.
curse word. Yeah.
It's sprinkled. Yeah, it's sprinkled throughout the movie for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, that was like done and then completely dropped. So when they say win it all, what do they mean? Is this the
The
World
World
Series?
Series. So in baseball, there's a lot of playoffs. Each division, and there are 6 divisions, I think. There's 2 leagues, 6 divisions total. And so each league basically fights it out and gets a winner. And then the winner from each league, there's 3 division winners, and then they play it off, and there's a wild card now, and blah blah blah. But in the end, there's one team from the American League and there's one team from the National League. And the winner of both the leagues, they come together and they play the World Series.
Okay.
But they are playing in the division, so no, they would be going to the next round of the World Series.
That's okay. So this was kind of playoffs.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely playoffs.
All right. Because their final showdown is with the Yankees, which,
Yeah.
as you said, everybody hates.
Yes, unless you're a Yankees fan, and then you suck.
That's so interesting. How did that happen?
The Yankees. So the Reds have like 7 World Series wins. The Yankees have like 29. And they always have the biggest bankroll, so they buy every player that's good,
Got it.
and they stack the deck.
So it's a class war.
Yeah, for sure. And the Dodgers are doing it now. The Dodgers are the new Yankees.
Where are the Dodgers?
Los Angeles.
Okay. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's a coastal class war now.
Yeah.
All right. Now I hate the Yankees too now.
Good. Yes. Good. If I've done nothing else, I have converted another person into Yankee hatred. My brother-in-law is a big fan, and if one of my students tells me the Yankees is their favorite team, and I'm like, well, nobody can be perfect.
Right. Nobody's nerfed. So Dorn's, this is the pretty boy that didn't want to field the grounders. There's a little subplot earlier where he almost blew a game or could have won a game and didn't because he didn't want to field the grounder because he might mess his face up. And Rick and Jake have to have a thing about it. Jake comes up and he's like, why are you fucking up? Why, you need to get it together. And he's like, well, we should have been done already because Dorn fucked up. And he was like, who cares? Whatever. So he gets him through it. And then Jake later goes to Dorn's house and is like, if you fuck up like that again, I will cut your balls off and stuff them down your throat.
Yeah.
But this is where we meet his wife and we see a little bit more about like what his motivations are. Like he's definitely like, he's not a baseball player. He's using this to springboard his celebrity for, a post-baseball career. Like he's not thinking about the game itself. But we see her again later at this point, and she sees him she's watching on TV, had been watching the game. And so the after party, there's a reporter talking about the after party, and she sees him in the background making out with a woman and they went through a door to go back and to get some privacy. And so she caught him cheating. And that's why she decides to go sleep with Rick Vaughn. I just now put together who that was.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was her when I said that thing earlier. Yeah. So she's going to get back at him. This is also evil. This is another kind of misogyny. Like, she wasted no time in trying to think of the most fucked up way to get back at him that not only hurt him, but hurt his career, hurt his teammates. The women in this movie are all either evil or stupid.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's what you get when you have men writing female characters.
Yeah.
And you have no input from women. Yeah.
Yeah. But, Rick is like, okay, whatever. That's nice of you. And so he has a nice time with this random lady friend. She leaves the next day, but Jake sees her and Jake was like, do you know who that is? Or no, she tells him, right?
Before she leaves, yeah.
My name is such and such Dorn.
Suzanne.
Okay. Yeah. And he's like, Dorn. Like, she says it in a way like you should know this, and he doesn't. And so she goes, yeah, Mrs. Suzanne Dorn. The wife of Roger Dorn. And then she leaves and Jake sees her and he's like, what the fuck? Which at this point, are Jake and Rick roommates? Do they live together?
I assume so, but by the time the next movie comes out, Rick has his own apartment, a fancy apartment. So I don't know.
That came out of nowhere.
If they were out of town, they often stay in hotels, and a lot of players, if they don't like the hotel, will do bread and breakfasts and things like that. So it's possible that they were at some kind of hotel or with a suite or some kind of apartment they rented or whatever. That kind of stuff does happen.
Yeah. She got there awful fast, but
Yeah,
it's possible, you know. Could have been the next day too that
yeah.
she did that. So anyway, Rick knows that he's fucked. He's like, I didn't know, but you know, it doesn't really matter. Dorn's gonna kill me. So he hides from him that night. And then on the bus, Lou tells him that he isn't gonna be starting, even though it's his turn. Which I thought was kind of weird. Was this a superstition thing? Because Lou wasn't trying to fuck with him.
No, it's so sometimes managers will do that, especially when it's around the playoffs and that kind of thing. Sometimes a pitcher, say Bob is a pitcher, and he usually does really good against the Yankees. He's average against the Indians or whatever, but he usually does good against the Yankees. Then I would probably put, if we had to play the Yankees, I'd probably put the guy that usually is good against the Yankees
Oh,
in.
okay.
So
Okay, because it is. I mean, it's a team sport, but it is about individual strengths, right? Like he's
yeah.
the pitcher.
Normally, there are five pitchers for regular starters, and they go in what they call the rotation. And
Yeah,
they go. Sometimes they'll skip over somebody, or sometimes they'll bring up somebody from the minor leagues and insert them into the rotation. So sometimes there's a disruption, but you can know who's going to pitch. Or say it's your turn to pitch, and you every time you pitch at the Colorado Rockies Stadium, somebody hits 3 home runs off of you or something. It's just the way that it's always gone. I wouldn't pitch that person at Colorado, things like that. Like
yeah.
it's
So
it,
there's a little bit of superstition to it, and a little bit
yeah,
of actual player strengths. You know, like
strategy.
say there's the Yankees lineup is full of guys who can smash your curveball.
Hmm.
Then you're gonna want to play the dude who throws a different or better curveball or whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about. But the dude who is starting is the Harris guy, the older guy.
Yeah,
Um, he's a cheater too. This guy, by the way,
yeah,
like he he had 3 different substances on him that he would doctor the ball with, and was one of them Vagisil?
yeah.
That's what I thought he said.
Have you ever felt that stuff? It's very slippery. I don't know if you've ever. It's a very weird texture.
Vagisil, isn't that the stuff that is like for yeast infections?
Yeah,
Okay.
or I guess what I thought of was with like the soap that you can get.
Okay,
The
uh, maybe in '89, maybe it was a certain thing.
Yeah,
I don't know what I was about to. This
Vagisil, 1989.
yeah. This keyboard keeps turning off if I don't hit anything on it, and maybe it's for the best this time.
That's another rule change that has happened. The umpire between innings. So you get your third out and then you exit the field. You go back to the clubhouse. The home plate pitcher or umpire will go check the hands and the glove of the pitcher every time.
Yeah,
Every time there's a pitcher change, they
because
check for
these
it.
motherfuckers can't be trusted. Like that is
No.
one thing I have this impression of baseball of like they're always cheating.
So another thing, you notice the calling the balls and strikes. They used to do it by the number one. It was the heater. They used the number two. They did away with that because Houston was stealing signs that were on TV. They were watching it live on TV, stealing the signs and hitting a garbage can to say what pitch was coming. So now they have pitch cons, and the pitcher, the first baseman, one other player, and the catcher all have an earpiece, and it beeps. So if you're going to do a fastball, it beeps once. If you're going to do a curveball, it beeps twice or whatever.
That takes the fun out of it.
Well, it keeps them from cheating, I guess. They also have the robotic umpire now. It's called ABS, Automatic Balls and
Oh,
Strikes.
I've seen clips of that on TikTok of,
Yeah.
like basically looking at how accurate
Yeah.
the human umpire is compared to.
Yeah. The way they do it is each team gets 2 challenges, but if you challenge and you're correct, you get to keep your challenge. If you
Oh,
challenge and you're wrong, you lose your challenge. So you could do 10 challenges in a game if you kept getting them right.
if you're right.
So Yeah, the pitcher, the catcher, or the batter can call, and they're oftentimes especially the catcher is almost always right because they know the strike zone very
They're
well.
yeah, right. They're there. I think college football introduced the challenge in the 2000s. It's interesting. Like some, I mean, every sport has its culture, but it seems that baseball is very much like just try to get away with it,
Yeah,
whereas that's not the culture of something like football. Now, there
yeah.
are cheaters in every sport.
I find it wild that professional athletes go to that length, but then again, it's their whole world, it's their whole job. So I would also want to be number one, I
Yeah,
guess.
I understand cheating for sure. I think that's this whole other kind of thing, right? Like whether it's right or wrong could depend on a lot of things, right? Like, and right or wrong don't even always mean the same thing. Some games are about cheating, like, but they bring him in. He is able to pitch and get the inning over, and then it's time for Jake to come to bat. Willie's on base and is stealing. He steals first base, and then Jake comes out and or no, he steals because Jake is right. We talked about that already. So Jake swings
Yeah.
and misses, but Willie steals. So Willie's wants to steal again, and Jake has the idea to bunt. So that kind of was a circle back to how Willie did that before. But I thought also like this was kind of one of the only like subversive moments in the movie. This was him kind of admitting that he wasn't the big raw tough, top shape masculine dude. He couldn't just slam a home run and he knew it.
Well, nobody had done the pointing since Babe Ruth in like 1930. So that was a big deal. That would have
Yeah.
been a big deal if it happened in real life.
And it didn't work. Like,
Well, he did that on purpose because he did it because when you do that, like the first baseman and the third baseman and everybody else is going to back up a little, right, so that they can be ready for your hit. But if they think you're going to bunt, they move in some so they can get to the ball a lot closer. What he was doing was giving himself as much time as possible to run to first base by
oh,
doing that.
okay. So that's why we had the little shot of the outfielders. The one dude, he goes like, oh, fuck, and has to run
Yeah,
back in really fast. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, that is
yeah.
very subversive. That's him being like, "Yep, I'm an old dude with bad knees. I'm not going to smash a homer. I need to create a diversion to set myself up for success. Like I'm not a young buck. I have to. It's not cheating, but it is gamesmanship. I guess is what you would
Right.
call it. So I really liked that. I thought that was cool. But then after they win or whatever, they beat the Yankees, rah, rah, rah. He sees Lynn in the crowd and she like holds up her left hand and points to her ring finger. We skipped over the fact that they fucked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he finally finds where she lives and goes inside and forces.
You forgot a great quote. The Indians win it! The Indians win it! Oh my God, the Indians win it! That is a very famous quote. Bob Euchre at the end when they win that game. That's a very famous quote from the movie.
Wow. Never before said words.
But yeah, sorry. He forces himself into following her in the club car.
He essentially, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to overstate this because there's consequences to that. But this is coercion. He comes into her house, he refuses to leave, starts pressuring her about leaving the fiance, then kind of forces himself on her physically. She's not saying no. The character isn't indicating no, right? It's written and played like this is cute, that she's
Right.
consenting. So I'm not going to say that it is rape or assault or anything like that, but it is gross, I guess. It's just
Yeah.
what it is. It's like, I won't take no for an answer, but it's because she really wants to say yes, but she can't. And
That's a trope that's dangerous.
right. Yeah. And I say that knowing plenty of people have like they do role play that is that. That's different.
Yeah.
Role play is consent. Have
A
fun.
lot of men think that women want to be raped, that they want to have that experience, that kind of thing. So you're right. It's definitely, they think that they can force themselves into their life and that it's sexy somehow, that they can force their will on them and that kind of thing, when it's definitely not.
No, like there are kinks that have to do with consent play or whatever, like there are people who will get together and design a scene that mimics some, like that's kind of a lot of what like people who like to be tied up, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Like the illusion of loss of power, but it's not literal, and that doesn't mean that that person secretly wants to be raped. Somebody that likes to get tied up doesn't also secretly want to be kidnapped.
I made a friend one time and she told me, I didn't know it existed, but consensual non-consent, maybe that's, I don't know. I stopped being their friend. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I stopped being their friend.
Over that,
Yeah. If you're into that kind of violence, I don't know. That's like I said, it's just me. Maybe it's just me,
she
but
said
that
it was
is some fucked
called.
up consensual non-consent.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
Reading the Wikipedia thing now.
As a sexual assault survivor myself, I just can't. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. So it's a part of those like 24/7 things. Like we probably didn't talk about this on air. What I'm reading here on Wikipedia, which is granted super condensed, is it's a part of the master slave community. So
Yeah.
it's someone who it's not consensual. That's a misnomer. That is not what this means. It's someone who's waived consent. They have waived their right to consent. And when it says it is controversial within BDSM circles, even often frowned upon due to concerns about abuse and safety, right? Because okay, we're not going to get into those weeds, but those weeds are there, and yeah, all of that is at play when we see shit like this on screen, right? When a major movie shows us a male heartthrob, which Tom Berenger was at the time. Somehow, I think he's ugly as hell, but
Agreed.
getting a beautiful woman because he simply refused to quit. He simply refused to respect her boundaries. And that actually turned out being what she wanted too. And it was best for her. But like I said, again, I'm not going to go as far as to claim that this was actually assault, because there's actually something a little more troubling. Like, that's not the worst thing we can have on screen, right? Sometimes we even need to depict that on screen so that we can problematize it or criticize it. This is worse because this is rape culture.
Right.
This is the retelling of what coercion means.
Right.
So after they fuck, she leaves because he tries to go back to her house. I don't blame. If I was when I saw that scene when he goes back to her house and all her shit's gone, I was like, hell yes, bitch, you came to your senses. Which now I'm wondering, where did she go?
Probably back to her dude's apartment.
Yeah, but then she shows up at the end and she's like, "I'm not married. Let's do it on the field."
Yeah.
Did you see the heated rivalry night, the baseball?
Uh-uh.
There was two players making out for a heated rival. Okay, maybe this is AI. Let me look this up.
There has never been an active player in Major League Baseball that was out as gay. Never.
I definitely believe that. Baseball team celebrates heated rivalry with gayest something. Okay. The Portland Pickles. So this is not a real. Are these real?
So minor league teams have become somewhat of entertainment.
Like the Savannah Bananas?
Yeah, well, they're a whole different genre too. They have different rules. Like if you hit a foul ball and a fan catches it, you're out. They have different rules
Okay.
in banana ball. But minor league teams, they do a lot of promotions. But then you have teams like the Mud Hens, who are farm teams for the Mud Hens are a farm team for the Detroit Tigers. So there's like A, double A, triple A in the minor leagues, and you move up through the different leagues, and it gets harder. And then once you've gone through triple A, you can jump to the majors. Not everybody goes through the minor leagues, but if you do, you can work your way up that way. And then so those teams are usually well, they're always minor league teams, but they're all over the country, which is how you get like Duluth having their own team, or these tiny ass Toledo having their own team. And it's like a drive-in movie or a demolition derby or something. It's something to invest in a community event. But they'll do like one time Cleveland did 10-cent beer night. Oh my God.
Like they're not just this is tonguing, right? Like so okay, he charges the mound like he's mad or something, right? And then he jumps onto him. You see his legs are wrapped around him,
Yes.
and this went on
Well,
apparently.
Lord.
And there's videos, like you can watch the videos of it. Of course, there's videos of it, but like
Yeah.
as soon as I saw this, I thought of you, and I almost forgot to ask you about it. I'm so glad I remembered it. I want you to watch this and report back,
I will do.
like, if you have the strength to go into the comment sections or whatever. But yeah, because this is not, look at this man. His jaw is unhinged.
That's crazy. Right there in the article, it says the Collegiate Summer League Portland Pickles promise 50 games, 50 wacky themes night.
Okay.
So that's just a way that there's a lot of that kind of thing. They'll have wet T-shirt night and
Okay.
pig night and bring your dog to the park night and anything. That's how Ladies' Day started. It was a
Hmm.
promotion, but they had to get rid of Ladies' Day. So because a man in New York sued.
Yeah, because he wanted to go. All right. Well, that's Major League.
So
And
overall, what
now
was your feeling about the film?
I really enjoyed it. Like it has a lot of things that I fucking love, and it's something. Most of them are things that sports films do particularly well, and one of those things is team building. How strangers or whatever, for whatever reason, can come together and form a unit, a team that can make and agree on goals and what they care about. I just think that that's why I became a person that studies people and culture and society. Like I love the mechanics of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked that wound up being kind of what this was about. And it was cool to see, Charlie Sheen in something that I didn't hate. I thought he actually
Right.
did a pretty good job of playing not a complex character, but a character that experiences some growth. I haven't seen him do that shit any other movie.
He plays a big role in Major League too, so he does some more character evolution in Major League too.
Okay, I'll check it out then, because that one actually was more accessible. I had to buy this or rent this when I couldn't find it anywhere
Yeah,
streaming.
me too.
I would say because it's the Indians, it's not super. Sometimes people want to scrub their mistakes from the internet instead of just simply going like, "Yep, that was wrong." I also liked seeing Cleveland through this perspective, seeing I don't have a lot of familiarity with Ohio in general. So experiencing any region or area through its fan base of a sports team or something like that, through something they care about, it's pretty fun. I like movies that do that.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad it wasn't a bust.
No, oh no. And I like bust. I was just laughing so many times because there
Yeah.
was the humor is subtle and wry in a way that I wasn't expecting. A good example is the "I look like a banker" thing. Like
Yeah.
that's I didn't expect to find a kind of humor that I really love in a movie like this.
Right. Did you notice we didn't bring it up, but there was one of the guys. So you know how they kept cutting to the fans, like they're still shitty, the Japanese guys, where there were some guys working construction. He plays Neil on Scrubs and the dad on The Middle. Do you know who I'm
I did
talking
notice
about?
him. Yeah,
He's in it. That was clearly before he was famous, but he has like four or five little bits in it. They keep coming back to him. He's in the bar with the punk scene.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
I did see him, and I thought that was him. I recognized him from Scrubs,
yeah,
but I didn't know for sure. Um,
yeah. That's him.
yeah, and the community also, like the way the Cleveland, like they come to love the Indians again. It's a new community. It's
Yeah,
not just bringing back old fans. These are young, cool people, right? Like that hang out in bars and have cool hairdos, and this is a younger generation that's interested in this old institution that is really ingrained in the city. And so it was kind of, and there's a little joke they make a reference to it with the two guys. One is the punk dude, and I think the other is the construction guy you're talking about,
yeah,
who they hug, and then they realize they're
yeah,
hugging somebody that's like super different from them, and then they're like, fuck it, we're
yeah.
all the same here. And there were so many little moments like that where this movie like just drops nuggets of social commentary and then leaves them, and it's there if
Yeah,
you see it or if you like that kind of thing, and it's not essential to the plot, and it's not like beat over the head with it. It's pretty
right.
cool. Well, this is the longest we've talked about a movie, so apparently we liked it. Sorry if this episode is 3 hours long, you guys, but let's hear from this week's sponsor. This episode of Queer Next is brought to you by Bootleggers, those architects of the Appalachian workaround, progenitors of proprietary property redistribution, the FAFO forefathers. They figured that if the law was going to tax what made a hard life tolerable, they had a moral duty to provide an alternative service model. They knew every deer path and gravel wash better than the high sheriff and trusted the creek more than the preacher. Their whole operation ran on kin, a decent set of wrenches, and the sacred code of keeping your mouth shut. The recipes were a legacy, and the stills were always on the move. Bookkeeping was more of a hell or leather kind of setup, and not in the fun way. If you wanted to stay in their good races, you didn't keep company with anyone in uniform. Bootlegging is fundamentally incompatible with bootlicking, and woe betide you if you forget that simple truth. The straight white middle class world might think bootlegging is a thing of the past, and we'll just let them keep on with that. They don't need to know the unspoken salvation of a well kept secret. They aren't going to ever find themselves in need of communicating with ATV headlamp Morse code. And they won't know why hidden survival economies are the most organically intersectional of all social constructs. The bootleggers can get you Jack Daniels, sure, but also birth control, condoms, pregnancy tests, and hormone replacement therapy. Bootleggers are community mutual aid because y'all means motherfucking all. When the world decides you're too rural, too broke, or too queer to count, you don't wait for permission to exist, you just build a back door. You don't need a government permit to take up space, and you sure don't need a receipt to belong to your people. So let's hear it for the bootleggers, still outrunning the paperwork.
That's awesome. I always think of my papa when I think about moonshine
Yeah.
and running all that. Yeah.
I was thinking about that story when I was writing it.
Yeah.
The ATV Morse code thing, that was real. That was how, when we went to the bootleggers in Whitley County, that was how they would communicate. They would drive their ATV up on the hill and flash their lights a certain number of times or whatever. And then somebody else would drive down, and you were sitting at by a barn this whole time. Like, you pulled up and you said what you wanted. They had two things. They had Jim Beam and Bud Light. And then they got on their ATV, rode up the hill, signaled their lights, and then somebody else rode up with the beer or whatever you got. That way they never got caught with it on them. It's hot up here, dude.
Yeah. My mother-in-law and my best friend are coming up tomorrow from West Virginia, and the air conditioning is half out in my apartment. It works when it wants to. Apparently, there's two blower motors in the system, and one of them went out, so we've still got one blower. So sometimes it'll blow some cool air through here, but we've got two fans and a portable air conditioner, and I don't know how we're all going to sleep. The maintenance people were supposed to be here today. It's 3:44, and they're not here yet. They were going to move the portable air conditioner from here into the hallway, so that we can at least circulate the air a little better. But it's going to be miserable. They're going to come Monday and fix it, they said.
If they don't, you could call them and be like, I'm going to buy something to fix this, and then you're going to reimburse me.
Well, I wouldn't even know what to do.
Oh, no, I meant just like address the situation. So like get another fan or something like that. Get another one of these ACs or something. Like, that you can't force them to pay you back though, I don't think, but
they're not nice here. They're not really
that
all
sucks. I'm sorry, dude.
That's okay. They sent out an email. Apparently, they're upgrading their systems, and they sent out an email to everybody saying, because you didn't keep your renter's insurance, we're going to add $15 a month to your rent. And I was like, the fuck I did? Like, I paid, you pay for it a year in advance. Like, it's only like $120, so I paid that off.
Yeah, renters is cheap.
Yeah. And so I didn't change anything. And I let Shanna call the office because they piss me off every time I call down there, and it's just better if I don't call. And so she called, and the lady apparently apologized all over herself and said that it got sent to everybody, because I was like heated over it. I was like, the hell?
Yeah. Well, and $15, that shit adds up, because they're looking for
It
excuses.
Does. Yeah.
Fuck landlords.
I already pay over $1,400. They don't need another $15 out of me.
No, and You're paying for somewhere nice to live, and right, it hasn't been very nice lately.
Right?
Well, look. Do you want to give us a noun of Appalachian interest?
I do. I thought I came up with an interesting. I did some research on some things to get some ideas. Today's noun of Appalachian interest is the Grafton Monster, a cryptid that appeared once, caused a local panic, and vanished before anyone could ask a follow-up question, which is not bad publicity strategy if you want to be a mysterious icon. Grafton is a small city in north-central West Virginia, shaped by the railroad and known for its connections to the first Mother's Day celebration. It also gave us the pale creature with no visible head, which gives the town an unusual range of fame. The story began on June 16, 1964, when teenage reporter Robert Cockrell was driving home from the Grafton Sentinel along Riverside Drive near the Tiger Valley River. His headlights landed on something huge standing beside the road. Cockrell described it as 7 to 9 feet tall, about 4 feet wide, pale, skinny, and covered in skin that looked like a seal's. Most notably, he could not see a head. That detail caused problems. How do you measure the height of something without knowing where the head ends? The Grafton monster was less an anatomical specimen and more of a large white suggestion of monstrosity. Cockrell drove away and found 2 friends and returned to investigate, but the creature was long gone. They found flattened brush but no tracks, though they did hear a law whistle near the river. So obviously it was a monster. No other explanation needed. The story spread quickly. Teenagers searched the area with flashlights, crowbars, and mailers, which suggests they were prepared either to fight a monster or renovate a basement. Years later, Cockrell said that what he believed he may have seen was a local man riding a bicycle with boxes stacked around him. From behind, in poor light, the bicycle and his cargo could have looked like a one giant moving shape. That boring explanation does not ruin the story. No, sir, it improves it. Sometimes Appalachian folklore begins with ancient mountains and strange shadows. Sometimes Tommy puts too much stuff on his bicycle. We contain multitudes. There is something quietly queer about the Grafton monster as well. It appeared in public looking unlike anything people expected, and the town immediately began debating what it was. Nobody got close enough to understand it, and they simply assigned it a label and formed a search party. Most retellings call the creature he, even though nobody saw a face, heard a voice, or found any evidence. West Virginia looked at a 7-foot headless refrigerator by the river and said, well, that's probably a man. Women cryptids get no respect, I'm telling you. Whether Cockrell saw a cryptid, an overloaded bicycle, or a shadow shaped by bad lighting, the Grafton monster earned its place in Appalachian history. Mothman has the statue and the museum and the merchandise, but the Grafton monster made one appearance and disappeared for 60 years, the diva. That's not obscurity, that's a mystique, and I'm here for it. That's this week's noun of Appalachian interest, the Grafton monster.
Very cool. I looked it up and it apparently appears in the Fallout 76 game. You know this game?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's the same one that Camden Park is in.
Yeah, I haven't. It's really cool that it's set in West Virginia. I mean, I think a couple of other places in Appalachia too, but it's specifically set in Appalachia.
Yeah.
I'm not a gamer, but I was thinking of maybe giving it a shot.
I just want to check out the Camden Parks part, the Huntington parts, you know? That would be wild.
Yeah, I might look into...
I wonder if they have a Tudor's Biscuit World in the Fallout 76 world.
They better. I mean, they seem to have done their research, so you would think. But I had no idea because I'm not a gamer, and so it was a while back. I was researching something for us, and I kept coming across Fallout, like some Reddit forums or Facebook pages, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Apparently, they really like Fallout in Appalachia. No, it's set there.
That's so interesting.
I mean, it's a good location for something creepy. Do you know that podcast, The Old Gods of Appalachia?
No.
It got pretty big. It's been going for years now. And they tell creepy stories. I think it's narrative. I think that it's actually storytelling. It's a horror podcast. Haven't actually listened to it much. It debuted on Halloween in 2019. It's been adapted into an RPG. Each episode uses a combination of narration and audio drama to tell historical fiction based on Appalachian folklore. I don't know who these dudes are, Steve and Cam. I assume they're Appalachian. If not, this is a weird topic for them to be making a whole show on.
Will you throw a link to that in the Slack or something?
Yep. Yeah, because you'd probably like it. You don't really listen to podcasts.
I have a hard time because if I'm not doing something with my hands, I just my ADHD takes over and I can't focus. So that's why I listen to audiobooks in the car because I can focus.
Maybe podcasting is how you can convince yourself to start walking again. That's how I got into podcasting, was because I quit drinking, quit, everything. It was the pandemic, like a month later.
Right.
As soon as I quit drinking, it was lockdown. If I hadn't done that first, I'd probably be dead. I would just have
Right.
sat in my house and drank myself to death. But I was like, God, what am I going to do with my time? And I had gotten into this podcast about Star Trek. And by gotten into, I mean like most of my Facebook friends are people who also listen to this podcast. Like this was how I got into the culture of podcasting and what it can do for community building. So I would just put in my earbuds and hit play on a podcast and just walk. And I walked for hours. I would go through like 3 podcasts. I walked 7 miles a night. Well, I have OCD, right? It wasn't good for me. It messed my legs up. I had like electrolyte problems because I was sweating and I wasn't used to taking care of my body. I had never done anything like that before, so I had to eventually like calm it down or something. But that's how I got into podcasts, because I had to have something to do with my time. But now still, like if I'm like I should take a walk, I haven't moved around or anything like that, I'll throw on a podcast, walk until it's over, find a nice like
Hard time finding good ones. They're always shitty, the ones that I find.
there's just too many of them. Not too many of them. There are a lot of them. And so whatever it's hard to know what your thing will be, right?
Right.
I'm not like I don't listen to any other Star Trek podcasts. It's not the Star Trek or the podcast part that brought me. It was the 2 guys who host it are funny. I like their brand of humor. I like the way they relate to each other. I think that's maybe a reason a lot of people who aren't queer or Appalachian listen to us. It's just some people it's nice to sit and listen to them talk or whatever. I don't know how to put it. So
Right.
it was that, like finding a person that you liked listening to, the way they talk about something. Listeners, what do you think? All right, so you kind of know us a little bit now. What is a podcast that you think that Beck might like, based on stuff she likes and what her sense of humor is like? You can comment on the episode if you're on the YouTube or the Spotify, or you can send us an email at mailbag@queernext.com. I'll send you the Old Gods of Appalachia. You might like it, but listeners, give us your Rex. Hit us up. What are you doing?
Listening to see if there's somebody at my door again because the dogs went crazy.
Oh,
PETA is soaking wet. I've shot her so many times.
aw.
It doesn't stop her. I aim for her butthole.
Just try
Nothing would
turpentine.
make me want to. Yeah, nothing would make me shut up faster than a cold stream of water to my asshole. That's the way
Like,
I interpreted that.
message received. You'll
Yeah.
hear nothing more from me. Have you ever used a bidet?
No.
They're weird.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know how to use one.
There's a learning curve to it, and then it's also, you're just sort of like, okay, do I push it now? Like, when do I push it? And then you still like, the one time I did it, I was like, I still don't know if that worked. Like the part where you look at it to make sure you're clean isn't there.
Yeah.
You just have to trust.
Trust God and let go.
And that is not me. I'm not built that way.
PETA.
Peter, be good. Damn, you're really letting her have it.
Yeah. The vet gave us medicine for her for when we're going out to do things and she needs to be calm. And it's double the dose that they gave Linda. It's the same medicine as the gabapentin and trazodone. So we gave her a double dose and she was still barking the other night. She could barely walk straight.
I mean, maybe it's making her bark more. Maybe she's like, stop dosing me.
She's like, the party is going on and she's ready to party.
Yeah, she's the guy who's had too many beers and can't shut up about crypto
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Though we did drive after, because it takes about 3 hours for the meds to kick in on her. So she was still not quite under the total influence when we got to the drive-in, but she was under the influence by the time we left, and she could barely walk into the house. She was like, she was so funny.
You're gonna kill that
But she
dog.
didn't. She barks at trucks and like anything with wheels is her nemesis. And that was my point. Is on the drive home, she was quiet the whole way. That was very nice because that never happens.
My cats are always super quiet on the way home and really mouthy on the way to wherever we're going. I think they
Yeah.
know what going home is, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, this is what I was talking about. This is what I was telling you we needed to do. Thank you for getting the message." All right, well, that was Major League. Thanks everybody for tagging along. I'm an expert at baseball now.
Hello, this is editing cutting in here for a second. We forgot to mention what we were doing in this section was spinning the wheel of what have you to find out what kind of episode or little gimmick we're going to play for next week. So I feel like that would not have made sense unless I cut in here to tell you all that.
Okay, we've landed on word game / trivia. So this can be interpreted a lot of ways. We can literally just pull up Sporkle and play trivia on stupid stuff. We could play Pictionary on the whiteboard. We could play 20 questions. You know, think of like just those games you played at the back of the bus when you were bored as a kid, or things you like to play now. That kind of thing.
Just order Taboo because it's fun to play those.
I haven't played that. I haven't played any of these things in forever because I don't have a social life. So like, we can think about like what I think we should pick one and do it, or maybe just one or two instead of trying to like do a whole bunch of them. What do you think?
Definitely one or two is better than a whole bunch. I like the trivia idea. I like trivia a lot.
I do too. It's funny. Like I used to do this with when I was the weekend supervisor at the writing center when I was in my master's program, and there wasn't a lot of people that came in there for consultations. So I would have single elimination trivia tournaments for the undergrads. I would find things that were related somehow to our job or stuff. There's used to be anyway, a trivia about everything. And we'll just fuck around. Well, what are you doing the rest of the day? Cleaning?
Cleaning, yeah. Gotta take some garbage out, and we're gonna mop the floors real good before they come. We've got most everything done. I'm gonna clean out the fridge that needs done.
That's one of the worst.
Yeah.
I do not.
There's like half gallons of milk in there that need thrown away.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a milk graveyard there.
Milk graveyard? If it wasn't for SEO, that would be the name of this episode. All right. Well, hope the visit goes well. Hope everything's okay.
Thanks, pal.
Thanks for doing this with me. It was fun.
Yeah.
And thanks everybody for hanging out with us. And be good. Say hi to your mom and them.
Bye.